Hello everyone, welcome to a quick class about vertical farming. So my name is Karla Garcia. I am Technical Service in Hort Americas, and today I'm going to speak about the key factors that we need to know how to control in vertical farming and how can we help you to reach your goals in this kind of project. So I will start speaking about the systems that we can use in vertical farming and what can we offer you to do this kind of projects. I will also explain about light, temperature, humidity, air velocity, and nutrition. So we can use different systems for vertical farming. We can speak about deep water culture, NFT, but today I'm going to focus in ebb and flow. Ebb and flow is a very nice system for vertical farming, can help you to save a lot of water. And it's also a system that we can offer you to start a project in vertical farming. So let me explain how this system works. So in ebb and flow, we have a reservoir with the nutrient solution. And in this case, we have this below the plants. And it works when you turn on the water pump, then the nutrient solution moves up and irrigate your plants. And when you turn off the water pump, then the water go back to the reservoir. So this means that you need to irrigate your plants, and for this kind of system, you need to use substrate that holds a lot of water. In here, I'm showing this kind of system of substrate, which is Grodan. Grodan is a substrate made of Rocco. And this substrate has a great pH, great electrical conductivity, and also retains a lot of water. So using this kind of substrate in this kind of system, you will require maybe 2 or even 1 irrigation per day in an indoor system. So this is how this system works. It's very, very easy, very simple. And in Hort Americas, we can offer you a system that includes everything you need to start. You will need only the plants and also the nutrients. But in this kind of system, you have the reservoir, the pump, all the plumbing that you need, and also the lamps. I will explain a little bit about the lamps after this. So let's move to light. Light is a very important parameter in vertical farming, more if you're working in an indoor system, because that means that your light will be artificial, and that means that you need to control everything. And so it's very important to know how the plant responds to this parameter. In here, you can see in the x-axis, we have the irradiance, which is the light intensity. And then in the y-axis, we have the photosynthesis. So how plant responds to light? Usually when you tend to increase light intensity, you will increase photosynthesis until you reach the saturation point. In this saturation point, the increase of photosynthesis will stop, and you will not longer have an increase in photosynthesis until the point that if you continue increasing the light intensity, you will stress your plants, and then photosynthesis will start to decline. That is photoinhibition. It's really hard to get into that point, but it's good to know how a plant responds to light, because we cannot think that if we have more light, the plant will do more photosynthesis, and that is not all the cases. So how can we measure the light intensity? We can measure light intensity in plants using ppf. PPF is the right unit to measure light in plants. I know that there are a lot of units out there like luxes, watts per square meter, but the correct unit is PPF. Why? This is because PPF includes the spectrum that the plant used to do photosynthesis. So if you are using another kind of unit, you won't get that specific spectrum. So the unit to measure PPF is micromoles per square meter per second. This means how much light are you getting per area and also in time. PPF is a measurement that is instantaneous. That means that this is why we have seconds in here. So this is one way to measure the light in plants. But if you want to know how much how much light the plant is getting per day, then you need to work with a different unit. It's very similar. The name is daily light integral, and I will also call DLI. The DLI is a measurement that will give you how much light your plant is getting per day. So this is very important because we already have information out there about the requirement of light of different crops. So if you measure DLI, you can get sure that your crop is getting the right amount of light that need. And in artificial lighting, this is very important because you are paying for the light that you're using. So by knowing this, you will stay within the range that the plant needs. So you will maintain the quality and the production. So for example, in here I have, this is just a section of a table from Purdue University. This is just to show you that there is a lot of information out there about how different crops and plants respond to DLI. For example, we have in here tomato, and you can see that we need at least 22 DLI per day to have high quality in tomato. Usually in vertical farming, we use leafy greens. So I will give you also the details for leafy greens. So how we measure light intensity. In Hort Americas, we can offer you different solutions to measure light intensity. We have handheld sensors that you can use. In North Americas, we have different options to measure light intensity and also to get the DLI. So we have a handheld sensor. This handheld sensor will get you a PPF, which is the instantaneous measurement of light intensity. And this is very useful in vertical farming because you can get the light intensity of your lamps that the lamps already have an output, so you put the sensor below your lamps and you get your light intensity, and that can help you to calculate how much time you need to turn on the lights to get the DLI that you require. I will give you some formulas later that will help you to calculate that kind of measurement. We also have other measurement or other sensors. This sensor is 30 megahertz, and this sensor is also really nice because will get you the DLI, and it will also give you the PPF, so you can know the light intensity that you have, and also you can know the DLI that you have in your system. You can use this in greenhouse. You can use this in a setup for vertical farming too. So let's continue to speak about light. Let's move to speak about artificial lighting, the lamps that we have in Hort Americas, and the light quality that we can offer you, and why the colors of our lamps are important for your plants. So this is the formula of DLI. For the DLI, you need to know your PPF and also the photo period. That way you can introduce the numbers into the formula and get the DLI. And below this, we have a table. In here you can see lettuce. It's the number one. And in this table, you can see different crops, very important crops, and you can see the minimum requirement of light and also the optimum requirement of light. So for lettuce and microgreens, we have a minimum of 12. And this is the DLI that you can use in the vertical system, or if you want to increase, in the case of lettuce, if you want to make your plants grow a little bit faster, you can go in higher numbers than 12 until 17. If you want to get the specific time that you need of your lamps, so this means how much hours you need to turn on the lights, you need to use this formula. So in this formula, you need to introduce your target DLI. For example, in the table, we can work with lettuce as an example. We can choose between 12 or 17 as our target of DLI. So you can introduce this into the formula. This is the target DLI, and then you can get the hours of light that you need to turn on the light. So this is a measurement that is really important in vertical farming, because in vertical farming the plants are usually close to the lamps. So when the plants are going closer to the lamps, and we need to make sure that we are still within the range of DLI, because in vertical farming, if we don't have the numbers that I'm showing here, if you have more than a 17 DLI, then the plant will start to grow really faster, and the environment that we usually have in indoor systems in vertical farming will promote deep burn. So you need to get sure to be below 17, and you need to track this, because as I said before, the plant, when it's growing and getting closer to the lamps, then the DLI will start to increase too. So let's speak about light quality. So we already spoke about how to measure light intensity, but how can we choose the correct lamp for our plants? Now we have a lot of options for artificial lighting in plants, and we usually will see some colors that will stand up from others when choosing artificial lighting for plants. So one color that we always will see in our lamps will be red. This is because red is one of the colors that plants use the most for doing photosynthesis. So if you want to plant to grow, you need to have at least a little bit of red in there. So red is very important for photosynthesis, but red alone can can tend to stress your plants. So that is why we don't have just red lamps. We need to work to make a combination of colors. Another color that we also use for this is blue. Blue is a color that is also very used for plants for photosynthesis. And this color tend to make the plants more compact. So if we have red and blue, then we have a good balance of colors to promote photosynthesis and also plant morphology. Blue light is also related to get the color of the red lettuce. This is very important because if you are growing red lettuce in a vertical farming, you need to get sure that you have a little bit some blue in there, of other way your plants will stay green. And this is also something that you need to care about when selecting your lamp. So in North Americas, we usually help you in this. We always ask you, what are you growing? What is your goal? Uh, what is the quality of the plants that you want to get? And then we can recommend different options. We have some lamps that have medium and high output. The lamps are from GE, and the name is Arislink. And we have different options. We have an option in balance, reproductive, and vegetative. So depending on the quality of the plants that you want to get, then we can recommend a specific lamp with a specific spectrum for your project. Let's move to temperature. In vertical farming, we usually grow lettuce. That is why I'm always like focused in lettuce. But let's explain how all plants respond to temperature. So usually, when we start to increase temperature, the first response of the plant will be to increase the metabolism. After that, then the plant can start to stress and then even die. Um, on the other hand, when we start to reduce when we start to reduce temperature, then the first response will be to have a slower metabolism. After that, we have stress, and we also have really bad problems with our plants. So for lettuce and a lot of leafy greens, they like cold temperatures. So the ideal temperature for lettuce is 65 Fahrenheit. And it's very useful to know that lettuce has a very strong response to root zone temperature. So you can focus in controlling also air temperature, but make sure also to track the root zone temperature. And other important aspect is that all plants respond to the average daily temperature. So always track the temperature in your system and get sure that by the end of the day, you have the average temperature that you need. If you have higher temperature in the case of lettuce, then you can have issues because when lettuce start to accumulate hours of heat, then you can promote bolting, and we don't want bolting. So make sure always to keep the temperatures ideal for your plants. And let's move to air velocity. So air velocity is very important in vertical farming. It's also important in greenhouse, but in vertical farming, if you don't pay attention to this variable, you can have problems. So there is bubble, let's explain it this way. There is a bubble of heavy air that accumulates above the leaves. This bubble of heavy air is called boundary layer and is the result of the friction of air in the surface of the leaf. So if you don't have enough ventilation in the canopy of the plant, then this heavy air in the boundary layer will will create problems to the plant in the uptake of some nutrients like calcium, and also will reduce the gas exchange, which is photosynthesis. So it's very important to reduce the boundary layer, and you can do this by applying more wind. If you apply more wind, you will have less resistance, so you will have a smaller boundary layer, and you will have more gas exchange, and also you will have uptake of calcium and any issues regarding about calcium, because in vertical farming it's very common to have issues with deep burn, which is a calcium deficiency. So the recommended air velocity is 0.3 to 1 meters per second. You can get this by using small fans, and make sure that all the levels where you have the plants have fans, or at least you have ventilation in the area. So we have also sensors to track air velocity, and we also have sensors to track temperature and also humidity. So all these three variables are very important, and they are available in the same package of sensors that I spoke about, the one that the name is 30 megahertz. So we can provide you software that connects all the sensors, and then you can get all the data from your system. And the last, but not the least important, the nutrient solution. So nutrient solution is very important in any kind of hydroponic system. Make sure you select a nutrient solution that is made specific for the crop that you're growing. In this case, for vertical farming, we usually grow leafy greens. So in Hort Americas, we develop a formula that is being tested for several world growers with excellent results. And this formula is made for leafy greens. And this is traditional. And we also have another one that is organic. So even if you want to do this in a traditional way or in an organic way, we have a solution for you, and that we can help you to know how to apply it, how to make the solution. We have videos, we have a technical service, and so any questions that you have regarding all the products, or how to start, any questions about the crops, we are available for you. That is the difference of our company. We're not just looking to sell the product. We want you to learn how to be successful. So that's all for this class. We expect to have more these kind of short videos for you. So I hope you enjoy this, and let us know any question that you have. We are happy to help you. Thank you.